I know what happened, you can ask me later.
Yeah. So I literally have never seen this in my whole life. I saw the other stuff, which was unavoidable, external circumstances. I never saw that. Okay, so let's say we can build it on time and on budget. You know, none of those bad things happen. Well, now we've got a completed building, but we don't have any leases yet. So can the space be absorbed? I like to use condos as a good sort of case study in absorption risk. So there were a ton of condos built, right? Around 2006, 2007, all brought to the market at the same time. And in condominium type development, the absorption is very important because typically the developer uses all the proceeds from the early sales to repay their loan, okay? So they don't make any money till they sell like that last 20%. And they've got to pay down their debt until that loan's repaid before they make much money. So let's just look at a little example, 77-unit condo project. Again, projections, pro forma, think you're going to average about $534,000 per unit. Takes 24 months to build. We think that we will sell all of the units within 36 months. Interest rates are 5%, total project cost of $33 million. Again, I won't dwell on this, but take a look at what can happen to you very, very easily. Here's our pro forma with these assumptions. We should have paid $12 million. That's great. But what happens if it takes just a little longer to absorb those units than you thought? And what if at the same time interest rates went up? And what if because you didn't anticipate that everyone in the world would bid for condos all at once, the price goes down? Again, we don't have a massive population growth in this region, to absorb that. So our $11 million of profit ends up being 4.5. Okay, but at least I'm okay. At least I didn't, kill myself here. But what if the absorption is 60 months and interest rates went up and we had a 20% price reduction instead of a 10% price reduction? I'm in the hole $2.2 million. And these numbers can easily happen, and they can be a lot worse than this, actually. Okay, and finally, can you repay your development debt? What is the exit strategy here? Go back to our building. Our pro forma said, if you recall, we borrowed on the basis of those assumptions being in place. So we borrowed $38 million. What should happen in 2009 when we go out to refinance our construction debt, this would be really cool if we could pay off our construction loan, pay ourselves back our equity that we invested up front, and then pull out another $3 million. That's what you hope for. And it happens sometimes. So that's one exit strategy, is to refinance. The other exit strategy is to sell. And so Frank, here's your 6%, here's a cap rate. So we go sell the building, it got all leased up, everything's great, we're gonna sell it at a 6% cap. And that means, wow, we can sell that for 57 million, pay back our construction loan plus our equity, and make $14 million. That'd be neat. Our return on cost was 8%. Our return on equity was basically infinite because we never had to keep our equity in. Okay, that's our pro forma. That's what we hope will happen. Now, let's look at some scenarios of what might really happen. In this case, every single thing is the same. Capital market conditions are exactly the same. Vacancies are the same, but we've had a little dip in rents, a 10% drop in rental rates. So we did not meet our pro forma. We missed it by 10%. So now, instead of being able to borrow 45 million, we can only borrow 38 million. Isn't that a huge discrepancy based on just a little 10% change in rental rate? And, you know, we're okay because we only have to pay off $38,250,000. So we're okay. We can pay off our debt. We can exit our debt. We don't really get our equity back though, right? We have to leave that in there. That's just a 10% decline in interest rates, or in the rental rate. And how that impacts your return? Well, instead of an 8% unleveraged term, you end up with under 7. Okay, it's not a disaster. Instead of an infinite return on equity, you settle for 10. Okay, not a disaster. Here is pretty much what really happened though, and why we had the big real estate crisis. This is kind of what really happened. Okay. It was actually worse.